When Mouse PI for Hire first leaked, the internet went wild for the 1930s aesthetic. But for animators and devs, we saw a massive problem. Modern FPS games rely on rigid skeletons and realistic physics. 1930s cartoons or rubber hose animation rely on the total absence of physics. Today, we're opening the case file. We aren't just looking at the art, we're auditing the engineering that makes an impossible world feel playable. The biggest hurdle in a game like this is the frame rate conflict. To make a game feel modern, you need a 60 or 144 frames per second camera. But if a character moves at 60 frames per second, the old movie illusion is shattered. Fumi Games uses a technique called decoupled animation. Look at the reload on the Tommy gun. The camera is rotating at a smooth 60, but the gun itself is stepped to 12 frames per second. This is a nightmare to code because the physics of the bullet usually depends on the animation frame. They had to write a custom script to ensure your hit reg isn't tied to the choppy visual frames. It's a masterclass in tricking the eye without sacrificing the feel of the gunplay. Let's look at Jack's arms. In 99% of games, from Call of Duty to Deadlock, characters have bones and joints. There's an elbow, a wrist, and a shoulder. But Jack has none. To achieve this noodle look in a 3D space like Unity, you can't use a traditional skeleton. They're likely using spline-based deformation. Imagine the arm as a flexible tube rather than a stick. This allows for squash and stretch, one of the 12 principles of animation. When Jack punches, the arm doesn't just swing, it elongates. This requires a dynamic Vertex shader that stretches the texture without turning it into a blurry mess. It's a high-performance math problem solved by art. Now, let's talk about the enemies. If you walk in a circle around a shrew, you'll see them flip to face you. These are 2D billboards. They are flat sprites living in a 3D world. Normally, a flat sprite casts a flat shadow, a line on the floor, but look at the depth here. The shadows have volume. This suggests Fumi Games is using shadow proxies. Every 2D character has an invisible, low-poly 3D ghost following it. We can't see the ghost, but the light engine can. It calculates the 3D shadow from the invisible model and projects it under the 2D sprite. It's an expensive trick in terms of memory, but it's the only way to make 2D characters feel grounded in a 3D city. Optimization is where most stylized games fail. When an enemy in Mouseburg explodes, they leave ink splatters. In a standard game, these are decals. But here, they are animated sprites. To keep the frame rate from tanking during a 2-0 man shootout, the engine has to be aggressive. Look at how the splatters disappear the second you look away. That's a culling logic script. They're managing draw calls by only rendering what is absolutely necessary for the noir atmosphere. Even the black and white filter isn't just a color grade. It's a post-processing mask that hides low-detail textures, allowing the game to run on lower-end hardware while still looking like a high-budget film. At the end of the day, Mouse PI for Hire isn't just nostalgia bait. It's a bridge between the 1930s and 2026. They didn't just skin a shooter, they engineered a new way to look at first-person animation. This forensic audit shows that even when a world is made of ink and rubber, the logic behind it has to be rock solid. I'm Jack. Well, I'm the dev level auditor, and this case is closed. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a technical breakdown of the boss fights, or if we should head back to Deadlock to see what Valve is hiding in their latest patch. Audit closed. See you in the next one. Mouse PI isn't just nostalgia bait. It's a masterclass in aesthetic engineering. It proves that style doesn't have to sacrifice substance. Let me know which game I should tear apart next in comments. Subscribe to Dev Level Gaming.